Hey, Cody, you with us?
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
there you
Hi.
go.
Gosh, what a
How are
wonderful.
you?
Oh my gosh, I'm great. I get to see familiar faces and catch up, and I'm truly happy to be here.
Well,
Aw,
fantastic.
so happy to hear that.
Yes, we are super happy to have you as well.
Yes. Yeah,
We're
thank you for
yes,
joining
thank
us.
you for joining us. This is super exciting. Cody, these are my co-hosts, Kate and Calissa.
Hello, nice to meet
Hi. Nice to meet you too.
And Cody, I cannot remember if we ever met on the show because when you were first introduced, I wasn't a writer yet, but then I became a writer the season after you were introduced, and then you came back in season six, I want to say. And I just can't remember if we ever crossed paths on set or anything, but super excited to, if we didn't, super excited to be meeting you now to talk about something that we all love very much. And that would be Teen Wolf. So,
you. Yeah.
thank you again for joining us. Well, let's jump right in. Cody, how did you get into acting?
Yeah, I've been doing this crazy entertainment thing since I was 12, and I'd say professionally since I was 15. And how it all started was I wanted to get the attention of a girl who had no interest in me. And so it actually started with the fashion and modeling. She was a model in Ohio, and she was working on all this stuff. And I was like, how can I find a common interest or level ground with her? Well, if she's a model, I'm going to try to be a model. And so that led me to going to an agency in Cincinnati, Ohio, called Wings Model Management. And he said, "Kid, I know you want to do fashion and all that, but you got the face for pilots." And I turned to my mom
Okay.
and said, "I'm not here to drive airplanes. Like, what is this?"
I love that.
So, I got introduced to what TV and film was, started taking classes, and then that's what kind of started everything.
That's awesome. You are, I think, our second interviewee who has gotten into acting because of a girl. So we
At
spoke,
least, yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah.
we spoke with Kylan Rambo recently, and
I was gonna say Ian Nelson. I was even thinking
oh,
the same way.
also okay,
Ian Yeah, Nelson.
third. So
he did
third.
say that.
So
Yeah.
third, where it's like I have a crush on a girl. I guess I'm an actor now. Or so I think that's fantastic. That's totally fantastic and a wonderful way to get into something like that. So how did your crush on a girl, which led you to acting, lead you to Beacon Hills?
Yeah, so essentially, I made the move out here with my mom. I won a talent show, and then I just started training a bunch. I just really dived into the craft and anything that I could do. And I actually met Jeff at a 4th of July party.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, and at the time, so I was taking acting classes with Tyler Posey actually, and we were friends before Teen Wolf happened. And all of a sudden, Tyler went missing. I thought he died, and I said, "What happened to my friend? Where is he? Do I need to call the police?" And they said, "No, he's the star of a new pilot called Teen Wolf, and he's the Teen Wolf." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is incredible! Like, I'm going to watch every episode and I'm going to support him." And I remember
Aw.
watching it and I was like, "Wow, like this is a great show." I was like, "I hope MTV is smart enough to put money behind it because it's going to make a lot of money."
Hmm.
And they did. And so I always kept up with the show. And then someone asked me, what shows am I watching? And I said, at the time it was Breaking Bad, a few other shows. And I said, "Oh yeah," I said, my friend Tyler Posey's on Teen Wolf. So, I've been cheerleading that show." And he said, "Oh, Teen Wolf." He goes, "Let me introduce you to someone." And I said, "Okay." So I go and I go to shake hands, and he goes, "Hi, my name's Jeff Davis. What's your name?" I said, "Oh, my name's Cody St. New." And he said, "So I hear you watch Teen Wolf." I said, "Yeah, my buddy Tyler's on it." And I said, "I think it's an amazing show. I think it's the best show that MTV's ever had." And he goes, "Oh, well, I'm the executive producer showrunner." I was like, "Jeff Davis." I was like, "Oh my God." I said, "I also worked on Criminal Minds." I was like, "This is so crazy." So we just started hanging out. And then like a year later, he auditioned me for one role, and it was a military role. and he saw me on camera and he said, "Hey, you actually look really young. I think I have something else for you." Introduced me, had me come in for Brett, which was supposed to be a one-off episode originally, and that's how I got invited into Beacon Hills.
That's awesome.
Wow.
What a winding road that was, and it was so much fun. That's so awesome. You
So-
go ahead.
Was it Parrish that you originally auditioned for then, or was it a different character?
No, I believe it was for one of the flashback army scenes.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
I believe it was one of those, and yeah, so yeah, that's what that
That's
was.
very cool.
yeah.
That's very-
And it's great that they extend the character of Brett so we can have more of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a fun character.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
you.
And that's definitely a Jeff thing. Jeff, like we'll be breaking a character and then it's like, oh, one episode. Like we don't need the character again. And then Jeff and the cast and crew is like, but this person's fun. So can we just bring them back? Like Meredith Walker, that character was one episode. And then it's like, well, but more, please. So, that's kind of how it seems to be with a lot of characters. And that's always wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. I definitely would say that on the set it was such a family vibe that I don't think anyone from, production, cast, crew, no one ever wanted to say bye to each other. And we're all like, how can we just keep going, like, and be able to see each other every day?
Right. Wonderful. Just wonderful.
You mentioned working on Criminal Minds, which was also a Jeff Davis show. How did that set compare to the Teen Wolf set?
The energy was the same in the sense of everyone was so gracious. Everyone held so much humility. I remember one of the leads of the show during the table read stood up and he went and shook everyone's hand at the table read and introduced himself. And, it just goes to show that Jeff surrounds himself with people who are like him, and that's talented, professional, lot of humility, no ego, and it really reflects who he is as a leader as to the people he surrounds himself with. So yeah, it was pretty similar actually.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, what did they tell you about the role of Brett when you first started? And what did they say about expanding Brett's character in later seasons? Like when you were approached to be an anchor for season 6A? This is actually a fan question.
Oh, so when I originally went in for Brett, I don't even believe that I knew I was going to be a supernatural character. I believe I remembered it if I don't 100% quote me on this, but I remember I thought it was just a antagonist to Liam, and it was just more of a sports thing. And then once I got the full script and I got to see what was happening in the episode, and I said, all of a sudden I remember reading, and it said, Brett's eyes start to glow yellow. I was like, oh shit, he's supernatural. Okay. Oh wow. Okay, I understand what all of this is. And so I found out that, and then the second part was, how did I feel about being an anchor in the 6A and the extension, Brett? I felt honored. I mean, I think that's I think one of the best pieces of a compliment that you can get from working with someone is them saying, I'd like to work with you more. And to me, that was a huge honor that they would extend that to me. It was my first time ever working as a reoccurring on a show. The other stuff I had done on House and Criminal Minds was, more guest star stuff. So, the responsibility got to increase, and that was just such a joy and an honor to have those learning lessons and that experience. And for Brett to have made it all the way till the end, I was nothing short of just a lot of gratitude.
That's wonderful. It's just wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you had to sum up the character of Brett in one song, what would it be? And did you have any music that you listened to as you got into character?
I'm sexy and I know it. By
Perfect answer.
Perfect answer. Yeah.
I think that would sum up Brett. And as far as, diving into more of my craft and understanding my instrument, it's a funny job playing an actor because you kind of have to play this like schizophrenic therapist with yourself on what's going to move you. And at the time, I didn't realize how deeply, music affected me and how it can keep me in a train of thought to stay in something. So again, it was my first time working on something like that for an extended thing, and I didn't have all my, I was still learning my instrument. But to this day now, I definitely have a playlist of songs that kind of really center me because I'm a lot of energy. I can be all over the place, and then like when it's time to do like a really a vulnerable scene or anything like that, I will put headphones in, I'll go to a specific playlist and just stay in a place until, the slingshot's ready and the director says action and I let go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. How did you find those songs? Just like as you were discovering music, like, oh, this, I like this. I like the way this particular song makes me feel. I'm going to throw it in this playlist. Or was there like certain genres of music you sought out?
I think during so the way that I personally like to, set up a character is I try to give all of my heart, all of Cody's experiences into the words and behavior of a character. And so, if the song's about love or a breakup or any kind of sadness, I think about songs that I listened to during those times that I like cried myself to sleep or just anything like that. And I would use those songs to be the small snowball that puts me in a particular place, and then I let the imagination of the other world just kind of take me. So it's usually songs that were a part of different chapters of my life.
Awesome.
Huh.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, that's an interesting process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very.
Do you have any fun stories from the Teen Wolf set that you'd like to share?
Oh God, there's so many. I think one of the ones that make me laugh the most, and in no way am I putting shade on anyone, it could have happened to anybody, but I think when Megan Tandy accidentally locked herself in her own trailer.
Oh, wow.
Ah.
Okay.
We have not heard that one before.
Yes.
I think that it was a faulty, I don't know. I think that it was a jam. I don't think it was anything that she could have done differently, by the way. But yeah, I remember like everything stopped and there was this big pause and people were like checking on her to make sure if she's okay. And she just couldn't get out of her trailer.
That's great. That's such an interesting, I guess, on a show filled with such horror and stuff like that. The thing that kind of stops everything is like a door won't open. And we need to deal with this right now.
When is a door not a door?
When is a door not a door?
When is a door not
there
a
you
door?
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think your character named Brett Talbot is a reference to the original Wolfman movie in which Lawrence Talbot is bitten and becomes the werewolf?
Yes, I do actually. So I'm like a neurotic actor. So anytime any bit of character comes in, I'm like doing a full background crime report on them. And I actually texted Jeff. I said, "Hey, did you know that, this character was based off this?" He goes, "Yeah, that's actually where I got it from. That did come from that. So that was a creative choice from Jeff."
That's
Oh,
awesome.
that's awesome. I'm glad
And
you
not
could confirm that.
surprising.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
Styles mentions the Wolfman, right?
He does.
Season 1.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does.
Jeff must be a fan.
Of
Yeah.
the classics. I feel like he
He
likes
does.
the classics a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jeff has an encyclopedic knowledge of movies and stuff. So if he drops a reference into something, he was just like, "Oh, this will be fun," and just types it in there. So yeah, that's awesome. That's so cool that we're able to reference the OG Wolfman in such a modern retelling of the myth and all that. It's just so much fun. So much fun we got to do that. So when we meet Brett, it is at a lacrosse game. Are you big into sports?
I am pretty big into sports. I played sports growing up. I played football and basketball. Was always the
Nice.
second string though. So like I definitely was never like the star athlete. And then I love to enjoy watching games. Like for me, like, being able to have a beer and some like wings with friends and watch the game always
Mhm.
excites me. It's fun. I wouldn't say like I keep up with it, but I definitely love sports and love to watch them.
Well, fantastic. That's fantastic.
Actually, funny story to add to that. When I was getting ready for the lacrosse scene,
Mhm.
Dylan O'Brien was next to me and he goes, "So, do you play lacrosse?" And I said, "Never, no, not a day in my life." He goes, "Yep, no, nobody has. I'm just waiting for one person that has actually played lacrosse that's on the cast. It's not starting with me."
Well, there you go. There you go.
I was totally gonna ask. That was gonna be my follow-up question is if you had played lacrosse before.
That's so fun.
It is fun. It's so interesting to have all these people
Yeah.
pretending to be fantastic at a sport that none of them have any
Did-
inkling of how to play.
Did you say Jeff played in the past?
Jeff played in high school. In
So I guess it all
Connecticut.
stems from him playing.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
In addition to Teen Wolf, you have 2 horror features in your filmography, All Cheerleaders Die, All Cheerleaders Must Die, and Preservation. Are you a fan of the horror genre? Or was that just sort of what came along?
Yeah, I would say I am a fan of it, especially when it's done right. I think that there's a fine line where things can go, I don't want to say cheesy, but a little bit, cheesy. But I do like horror films. Oddly enough, though, like if I were to ask a girl to go on a date, I probably wouldn't ask her to go see horror films because I'm like this the whole time. I'm one of those people, like literally, oh my God, I'm like gripping the seat. Like I went to go see Saw, the last Saw, and like the whole time I'm just like, oh my God, like, I can't believe, like why are we doing this to ourselves? This can't be healthy. Like, oh my God. So I think
That's cute.
I think I would like to act in them more than I would watch them.
Gotcha. Nice. Nice. That's awesome.
We're huge horror fans, and
We are.
I'm not sure about you, Will, but I know Calissa and I actually have watched both of those movies together.
Oh, really?
Oh,
So yeah, we've seen both of them. I'm not sure if you've seen them.
I have
Will.
not. Preservation has been sort of on my watch list for a long time because I love the poster. And I just
Mhm.
have unfortunately not gotten around to watching it, but I love the poster. It's just, the campers and stuff in the woods and then the cliff. And I'm like, well, what's happening here? And yeah, so no, I'm definitely gonna have to check that out because I do like Lost in Woods movies. Those are
It's a
lots
good
of
one.
fun.
And then All
Nice.
Cheerleaders Must
I
Die.
would
is
add
really
All
fun.
Cheerleaders Must Die. I
Okay.
particularly liked that one. It was kind of a different take.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. I'll definitely have to check those out.
So yeah, we've actually seen both of those movies. We're not just
I appreciate that.
idly asking.
No, out of all the projects that I've done, that's definitely one that's not usually given as much love. So that's actually really awesome to hear.
Huh.
Yeah.
If you could act on any television show, past or present, what would it be?
Peaky Blinders.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
I'm a huge fan of the mob, like crime scene, smoking and drinking on, plays and the aesthetic. And I love the way it was shot. I love the style and the clothes. It was so classy and dirty at the same time. And the arc of it. And, Cillian Murphy is like he's been one of my favorites for a while.
Oh yeah, he's brilliant.
That would be awesome.
I still need to watch that, but it's definitely, I know it's a top rate cast, so you can't
Yeah.
go wrong.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like a pretty stacked cast, I think, through the entire series. And but yeah, I think you definitely look good with one of those caps with the little razors along the back that they're always wearing. And yeah, no, that'd be awesome. That'd be totally awesome.
Yeah.
What was your favorite scene to film on Teen Wolf? Or do you have a favorite?
I would say my favorite scene, gosh, there's one or two that's going between my head. The first one is probably like the hunt and the chase where I was getting hunted by Gerard in the woods and all of that. Like I felt like that was just such a fun action scene to shoot and just, kind of show what I can do. And then I would say the other one would be, I think I like just the introduction when Brett came off the bus. I think working with both Dylans and having that kind of, intense, who's going to masculine masculine as
Yeah.
each other. And then the scene with Dylan brought in some comedic elements. Probably that one, actually.
That's great.
Teen Wolf always did the best character introductions.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
They always hit.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
fantastic. So it's like Brett and the team walking off the bus. You're like, oh, who are these douchebags? Like, what is this? Like, it's just like you kind of know instantly visually like what the show wants you to feel, and then usually
Yeah.
you change it. But it's like exactly. But then also the dynamic between you and Dylan O'Brien with Dylan Sprayberry is fantastic too. But it's just Dylan O'Brien's kind of trying to fix something that is not fixable it was a lot of
And
fun.
certainly not by him.
Yeah,
He's just kind of like flitting into the situation, like, let's see if I can make this any better.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was fantastic. That was a really fun pairing. So yeah.
Teen Wolf has a lot of character introductions that feel like the characters like kicking in the door of the scene.
Mhm.
It's like, boom, I'm here.
Mm, mm.
And I feel like
Very
that
fitting.
that introduction is one of them that, like you said, Will, as soon as they all get off the bus, you're like, oh no.
Yeah, you're like,
this is not
I'm
gonna go well.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm now worried about the
Yeah.
other characters. So
Exactly.
The tone was set.
it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Teen Wolf has such a passionate fan base. Do you have any fan encounters you'd like to share with us?
Oh, yeah. What I would say, I mean, it's hard to pick one because I've been so lucky that, what the writers wrote, it was something for me to, put on such a public platform. I think one of them, a lot of them would come actually from the Comic-Cons. And I mean, there was a girl that I remember, her parents set up a FaceTime while she was still in the hospital, actually, and she just wasn't doing well. And not that I would say that that's like something that I liked by any stretch of the imagination, because that's absolutely horrible, but to be a part of something that a community built, that when people are going through these challenging times, it's to be a small fraction of something that brings them comfort is such a feeling that can't be described. I also got like fan letters because Brett was a bisexual. I think especially during that time, sexuality still wasn't really something like, obviously it was okay, but it wasn't something like it is now.
Right.
And I think when people see me, they see like a tall, more authority driven, like jockey guy who wouldn't typically be bisexual and in touch with that side. So I remember getting letters saying like, hey, like, it's so cool that you played this kind of character. It gives me more permission to be okay with myself and the things that I'm experiencing and feeling. So that was really cool to see.
Absolutely. 100%. I think that was a great thing about Teen Wolf, is that we dealt with a lot of stuff, but that was never one of them. That was not a thing kind of like in the world of the show where that kind of prejudice existed or whatever. It's like, nobody cared. It's just, you're perfect. We got a monster over here we got to worry about, like who you're dating right now is not an issue with me. So, yeah. So yeah.
Unless they're a werewolf, and then
Unless they're a werewolf.
complicated.
Could be
I
complicated.
do remember fan reactions, and a lot of fans were very excited when they realized the character was bisexual.
Yeah.
So it's great to have representation.
Always.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You shared a lot of scenes with Lily Andrew, who played your character's sister, Laura Lee. What was it like creating that on-screen relationship together?
Oh man, it was great. I mean, she's so professional. I mean, she's really special, and it kind of just flowed naturally. I mean, I think that to a degree, like me being, the older individual, I kind of already assumed a protectiveness over her, and it was like me and her, like, we were absolutely a part of the cast, but it wasn't like a main thing. So like we kind of like huddled up, and I think it was easy. She looked like she could have been my sister. I'm naturally a protector of anyone that is around me. And So yeah, it developed naturally and organically. Yeah.
That's
It's
awesome.
lovely. Yeah,
That's
Yeah, it read well.
it
It
did.
did.
Screen too.
It did.
This is another fan question. How did you feel when you found out your character was going to die in the final season?
Oh man, it was bittersweet because part of me was like, wow, I really can't even believe I lasted this long. Number one.
There's
Like,
a lot
holy
of death on
Yeah,
Teen Wolf.
There
there
is.
is. Yeah.
just a lot of death, a lot of shit. So there was that, and then there was like, wow, like arguably one of the, if not, I'd say the happiest experience I've ever had, working on something is coming to an end. So it was mixed emotions, more gratitude obviously than anything, and you know, yeah, that's what I would say.
Fantastic. Just
Beautiful.
fantastic.
If you could be any Teen Wolf creature, what would you want to be?
Exactly what I was. I would say exactly what I got casted for. He was a bisexual Buddhist werewolf. I mean, how many people can say that? It was so intricate and cool. Yeah, I'd say a werewolf.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And that's
Super
something
solid.
yeah, and that's something you run across very often, I guess, on like character breakdowns of something you're working on. Like, yeah, bisexual Buddhist werewolf. Okay, where's this going today? So yeah.
Yeah, honestly, it's hard enough just to find bisexual characters, so
Right.
like it all.
Yeah.
So
I forgot to include this on the original list of questions, but I was wondering, is there anyone that you wish you'd had more, like either character or actor that you wish you'd had more screen time with?
Probably Tyler. I wish that me and Tyler, because of the previous relationship,
Mm.
and the nature of that, I think it would have been so fun. And I think Brett also was, had Satomi for, a leader. And, Brett, I feel like it, was the next in line general. And I feel like that there could have been some cool potential for Tyler to groom, Brett for his own pack to some degree, and kind of a mentorship on a character level. And then just on a personal level, because I know Tyler and we would just have so much fun.
That would have been really cool to see,
Yeah.
like, Scott training Brett on how to be a good alpha for his own pack.
Yeah, that would have been a lot of fun because we usually see him, I guess, like helping the folks like in his pack, like they're like super in his orbit. But to have Brett come in and then him to help show Brett kind of the ways of being an alpha, and then Brett going off back to his pack and all that would have been fun. That would have been a fun dynamic to throw in there. So yeah, that would have been
not to
great.
mention the look on Liam's face when he found out that was going to happen.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's my dad.
good.
Go away.
Exactly.
That would have been
My
a lot
werewolf
of fun.
dad.
That's my werewolf dad. So that would have been a lot of fun. So you've done some wonderful work with the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I mean, Dave Thomas Foundation, we've done a lot of great stuff. I've helped raise money for them in the past. Even more recently, though, I've been working with an organization called You Gotta Believe, and that's ran with Seth Radutsky, and I was with a bunch of like Tony Award winning, Broadway people, and we all came together with different stories of adoption, because we somehow related to it. And we had a big show in New York, and what they specialize in is helping foster teens that are about to age out find permanent loving homes. And not only do they just help them find homes, there's a lifetime pass of any time throughout forever. If there's ever any, financial needs or resources or counseling or anything like that, it's an open door policy that they can always come back with. And the other charity that I work heavily with is because I'm on the board for that one, and then I'm an ambassador for the Single Mothers Outreach. And the Single Mothers Outreach is a charity based in Valencia as of now, and they help with single parents. So again, I was raised by a single mom, and I was also adopted. And so, again, we help gather resources and put together things that help, the really arduous and sometimes, from an outside observer, the view of raising a child by yourself, it's almost impossible with two parents, let alone cutting half your resources and time. So we've been working really hard on that, and again, it's nothing but a gift to be able to work with organizations that align with things that mean a lot to me.
Well, that's
Really
fantastic.
incredible.
Yeah,
Thank you for
incredible.
sharing
Amazing.
that with us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And we'll definitely make sure to link to those organizations in the show notes
Yes,
of our episode,
absolutely.
so other people can check it out and see all the great work that's being done.
Thank you.
So, no one ever stays dead in Teen Wolf. Would you be open to returning to the world of Beacon Hills? And if so, what would you like to see happen with Brett's character?
Oh, I mean, I think that's the first part of that is easy. I would welcome it back with open arms, and it would be a really great family reunion. And what I would like to see is one thing that would be really interesting is Brett to explore more of his, bisexual side. I think there could be some components where it would be absolutely hilarious to see him be in like a triangle relationship with a man and a woman and trying to navigate all of that, which could be, I think, really fun. And then number two, I would love to see, a little bit more backstory on Brett. Where did Brett come from? I know they talked about, my family passing away in a fire. Who was the other parts of my family, and how is his and Satomi's relationship? Where does that stand? Where does it go? What's her plans? So I think that those would be interesting elements.
Those would be
I
fun
would
to explore.
Yeah.
I'd be really into seeing that. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of fans would be too.
100%. 100%.
Who on the Teen Wolf set, cast or crew, would make the best alpha?
Jeff Davis. Yeah, I think even still knowing him personally, for someone who has so many responsibilities and has to, deal with so many different types of personalities and remain so calm, cool, collected, someone who still has their ego intact with so many, things in their kingdom. To me, he's like a real leader, and he's someone that I kind of inspire to be as well. The way he just handles everything. So I think he walks the talk of a true alpha.
Nice.
Aw,
Nice.
I
That's a
love
great
that.
answer.
Yes.
Yeah, that is a great answer.
Absolutely.
Cody, are there any upcoming projects you can tell us about?
In the middle, so part of my job, I've also switched into producing. I've put
Awesome.
the producer's hat on, and I was an executive producer on the Trials of Chicago 7 with Aaron Sorkin. I did
Wow.
I did the Tax Collector with David Ayer and Shia LaBeouf, and now I've put the producer hat back on as well, and I'm gathering funds for a project I'm not allowed to speak on yet, but that'll be, finding its way out. And I've also written a pilot with my friend Dan Studney, who is actually the one that introduced me to Jeff Davis.
Oh,
So
wow.
Fantastic.
yeah, so we have a really cool young adult dramedy that's coming up, and we also have a movie that we've written together, and that's what I would say for now. So I'm busy kind of in the creation process, gathering funds for projects, and I'm sure that in one of those things they'll have me come on as an actor.
Absolutely. We definitely hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm very
well,
excited to
keep an
see what
eye
you've
out.
written.
Yeah, absolutely.
you.
Seeing people branch out and finding all these other avenues to express their talent is always wonderful. So seeing that you're
Yeah.
leaning into producing and leaning into acting as well as or leaning into writing as well as the acting is awesome. It's just
Yeah.
fantastic.
And I'm really lucky that Dan, he's obviously a seasoned writer,
Mhm.
and he's written, Jack the Giant Slayer and a lot of, other incredible projects. So I again feel lucky that I could kind of be under him and let him be the Kobe of it all, and
Mhm.
really guide the ship in a professional way. So I feel really lucky.
Definitely
Aw.
lucky. Definitely
That's
lucky. Got
awesome.
some good
Yeah.
teachers floating around to help you learn, and that's just amazing.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Awesome. Well, Cody, thank you so much for joining us today. This
Yes, thank you so
this
much.
walk down memory
It's so
lane
lovely.
back to Beacon Hills and learning about all these things that you're working on now has just been wonderful. Just absolutely wonderful. Thank you for joining us. It's just great.
Yes,
Oh.
thank you.
No, of course. Thank you guys for having me and including me on something that has always meant something so deeply in my heart. And if there's anything at all that I can ever help with, no matter what it is, we're all in the same pack. So you just reach out to me.
Oh,
Absolutely. We are in the
thank
same
you.
pack.
You're the
Love that.
best.
Thank you.
You are
You're-
definitely the best. So well, again, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you have a great rest of your day, okay?
Thank you
Yeah.
guys. Good to see
right.
you.
Good to see you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.